Hey guys, it's Ben here from Australian Strength Performance. Now, before we dive into today's video, I hope you guys managed to watch last week's drop on our YouTube channel. So it was a Q&A on hitting 1,000 subscribers. It was something that was quite intimate to myself, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So if you have any comments or any new questions you might want to ask, make sure that you comment in that video below. On today's YouTube, we'll be talking about abs, the abdominals. Now, most of us here would want that six-pack, that eight-pack that we can show off. Yet when you go to the gym, how many of you here actually are performing the ab exercises that are effective to allow that to happen? Today, I'll be taking you through 3 of my favorite ab exercises and showing you the do's and the not to do's of these particular movements and how you can sculpt those abs. Let's get started. Now, the hanging leg raise is one of those staples that so many people perform in the gym, and yet you watch them as they start to swing when they lift their legs, just like what I'm doing right here. You see a lot of this where people try to touch the bar with their toes and use their hips to create momentum in order to do that. Are you working your abs? Not really. You're really using your hips to generate that thrust. As such, this hanging leg raise is incorrect, and you probably do not want to perform it this way. Now, the right way to do a hanging leg raise is simply to slow the movement down. Aim to hold a pause at the top and the bottom of the movement, and this prevents you from actually using a lot of your hips to generate momentum in a swing. The goal of a hanging leg raise is to ensure that your abs are contracting, specifically your lower abs, as you bring your thighs up and your legs to parallel with the floor. Now, for those of you that may not be able to do that, aim to bring it as high as you can without that swing. So the key is actually in slowing things down. Now, if also you find that your grip will give way, you can always use a harness to hold yourself up, and that way you'll be able to overcome the grip weakness. If, for example, you are not able to lift your legs directly in front of you, what you can do is also do a knee raise instead. So this is bringing your knees as high as you can. So typically I like the cue, bringing your knees to your chest. Again, pausing it at the top for a little and pausing it at the bottom to prevent the excessive momentum that you're generating when you start to swing your legs when you're tired. Now, the second exercise that I'm performing here is a standing cable crunch. When you go to the gym, you probably see a lot of people do this together with variations such as a kneeling cable crunch, but essentially they're the same exercise, and you watch them. Most people don't like to round their backs. They want to maintain a neutral spine with minimal rounding of the back as they crunch in, and they use their hips to push them backwards. This is to create that range that they want to. Very much like what I'm doing in the video right here, where I'm pushing my hips backwards to bring my elbows to my knees. Now, question is, how do the abdominals contract? The abdominals contract when I start to flex or round my upper body, my thoracic spine. So watch me as I perform the correct way of doing an abdominal crunch. Now, in this particular video down here, where it's hip dominant, I'm not targeting my abdominals at all. The correct way of doing this abdominal crunch is actually by rounding my back, very much like what you're seeing here. I really like to think of my abs like a towel. So if I'm rounding my back, I'm really rolling that towel into a roll and unrolling the towel as I extend my spine or I stand up. And this is how you really target your abdominals. So the movement is not a massive movement. Remember, this is a crunch. It is not exactly a sit-up. So you want to roll your spine as much as you can, using your abdominals to do so, bringing your abdominals like a towel and rolling it up, and then unrolling it as you are extending or standing up. This is how you're really going to get your abdominals on fire. Now, the third exercise that I'm performing here is one where I'm using the ab wheel, the abdominal wheel. There are a few variations of this wheel that some of you may have seen in different gyms. Some may actually use barbells to create the same movement. Now, in this movement, the goal really is to extend your body as far as you can, to bring your torso as close to the floor as possible to activate those abs. Now, your abs should be the muscle that pulls you backwards and stabilizes you forward. However, in this particular example you see me performing here, what am I doing? I'm trying to create the same movement by using my hips instead. So if you watch me, I'm thrusting my hips forward and I'm definitely using my hamstrings and my hips to pull me back instead of my abs per se. Now, again, this is the wrong way of performing the ab wheel. Now in this exercise, the correct way of performing it, I start off with my body directly over the wheel. Now I extend and I stretch as far as I can to bring my whole torso to the floor, as parallel to the floor as possible and as close to the floor as possible. Notice that my hips don't do the work in pulling me back. I'm using my lats to support myself and I really want to get my abs firing, so I stretch it and I use my abs to contract as I pull myself backwards. I don't pull myself all the way back till I rest. I still maintain tension in my abdominals as I pull myself backwards and keep that tension as I extend forward, holding that tension at my lowest position to the floor. Now this exercise is a genuine killer. Great for your abs, but you have to perform it correctly, because at the end of the day, if you don't, you probably find that your hip flexors will be more sore than your abs. If that's the case, you're probably doing it wrong. The other telltale sign is that your lower back would probably hurt more than your abs in the process of doing this. Another telltale sign that your lower back is probably too weak or your hip flexors are too tight. So a few things to look out for, but a great exercise all in all if you perform it correctly. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've taken away some good educational content from today's abs video. Now, do let me know in the comment section below what is your favorite ab exercise to perform when you're in the gym. Now, if you love the educational content that we're releasing, make sure you check out this particular site down here, learn-asp.com, that will give you a whole range of educational information. See you guys next time.